Hello everyone! This is Kim, and that was a terrible dab. I'm sorry that you had to see that, but I just felt like doing it. Anyway, hello, this is Kim from Fables, and in this video, I want to tell you how I named or came to name my deck Way of the Panda Tarot. Originally, I wanted to title this video like how my deck decided to call itself and the frustrations that it gave me. But you know, I settled with a simple, straightforward title. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my epic journey of naming. I think I came up close to like almost 100 names for the deck from the beginning, from the brainstorming. And it's sort of like not really epic, like it's not like the sky cracked open and then the name arrived. It's sort of like it just went with the flow and it just kind of happened. Very Panda-esque. So I'm gonna tell you what went down. Let's start at the beginning. When I first started, I wanted to call my Panda deck something along the lines of like Carefree Panda Tarot, Mellow Panda Tarot, Chill Pandas Tarot. You know, I wanted to capture the lighthearted and carefree nature of the panda, so I thought calling it a Carefree Panda Tarot might, you know, sounds fitting, but at the same time it wasn't like as catchy as I wanted it to be. It wasn't, I just feel like it was kind of there, but it's like not 100%. So you know, so I wasn't really sure, but I just kind of left it there. And I remember asking Tarot Nerds, which is the Facebook group that I'm part of, I asked the people there for just suggestions, and at the time I haven't actually started working on the deck yet. I just had it. I knew what the deck was going to look like. It's going to be kind of minimalistic, sort of like Line Strider. It has watercolor, but it doesn't have complex background. It's just a panda and some like illustrations and some colors. And I knew it was going to be in watercolor, and you know, but I was like in the process of finalizing things with my artist, and we're just getting started, so no cards have been made during the time, so we haven't really defined and toned out the deck yet through art. But you know, I decided to ask, you know, for a poll for some suggestions, so I kind of posted the panda picture that I found in Society 6, which led me to my artist. It's a panda in watercolor and it's gorgeously lined. I think in Way of the Panda that actually isn't lined, it's just mostly watercolor, but for that one, it's like, you know, this panda and it's like line art with watercolor on it. It's very pretty, has peonies like blooming everywhere. You know, like the vibe is really good, and that was kind of like the vibe that I wanted to go for my deck, so that was why I talked to my artist, blah blah blah. Anyway, so I shared that picture. I was like, hey, you know, this is sort of like the vibe. This is not part of the deck, but this is kind of like the vibe of the deck, so can you guys give me some suggestions? And right away, I think it's because it kind of looks like the Zen paintings and brushstrokes. Everybody was like, Zen Panda Tarot. Please name a Zen Panda Tarot. Zen Panda Tarot. And I was like, epically resisting, because I was like, it's not a Zen deck. Like, I don't know enough about Zen to really make a deck out of to make a deck dedicated to Zen, and it's definitely not a Zen deck, even though it has a lot of Zen values and inspirations in it, but it's not a Zen deck, and I'm not calling it Zen Panda Tarot because it's just too specific. You know, I didn't want it to be specific. I didn't want it to I was like having strong resistance to it because I knew that wasn't it. But you know, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just being like a rebel, because usually with me, if you give me an idea, even if I think it's a good idea, I'm going to resist it first. I'm just like, leave it on the kitchen table. Don't just hand it to me. I'm not gonna take it. I will take a look at it, and if I like it, I'm just gonna take it when you're not looking. But I will always thank the person. But you know, that's sort of how I roll. Like, I want to examine an idea to make sure like that's really what I want. So that's kind of what happened. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'm being like too much of a rebel, so I decided to research into Zen, and then I found that there were some ideas and you know, that were very aligned with the spirit of my deck, but at the same time, like, I knew it's not going to be Zen. Like, I don't think it was just like me being like ego tripping or whatever. It just, I knew it wasn't going to be Zen because it wasn't a Zen deck. You know, it wasn't completely a Zen deck, so I couldn't call it a Zen deck. It's just not what it is. So yeah, like, and I also didn't want it to be anything specifically. I didn't want it to be just like, oh, a deck that's pure Eastern philosophy, which is a very easy connection to make because pandas are associated with the Chinese culture and a lot of Eastern thinking, such as Taoism and Buddhism, but I didn't want it to be that. I wanted it to be a deck that draws inspirations from those things, from Tao, from Buddhism, from Eastern thinking, and also draws inspiration from you know, Western imagination, the New Age concepts, the idea of love and, you know, laws of attraction, etc. I want it to tap into all the things that inspire me personally, right? It's not just an Eastern deck, so I was just like, I'm not calling it Sand Panda. I didn't say it on the Facebook post though, because I feel like I would be like a total asshole. And if you're watching this and you were one of the people that commented, I'm sorry, but I really appreciated that suggestion because it gave me a lot of ideas and it made me think about it, and then also prompted me to do a lot of research on Zen and Tao. So it's all good, but it wasn't gonna be Zen Tarot deck. Yeah, and then like as a creator, like on a personal level, you know, I really wanted to capture the idea that you could take inspiration from different kinds of sources. It doesn't need to, you don't need to take on any labels, or you don't need to call yourself a practitioner of something. You know, you don't need to have a well-defined lane. You don't need a specific practice to define your spirituality. I just feel like I want to communicate that through this deck. That's why I deliberately did not include any symbols that would tie this deck to a specific like philosophy. For example, the yin yang symbol, or the Buddhist symbol, or astrological symbol. Nothing, no symbols that associated it with like a pre-established doctrine or philosophy. I just wanted to be, I wanted to carry lots of different inspirations, but I also wanted to be open to interpretation. Like you can sort of channel your own wisdom through the deck. You can reflect on the wisdom that you have through the symbolism on the deck. And the symbolism on the deck is very like easy approachable. You would see like a book, or you would see a feather pen, or you would see like butterflies. So it's kind of like very atmospheric, but it's gonna be like very easy to read. But anyway, this is a complete tangent, but that's kind of what I wanted for the deck. I wanted to be really open. You know, I wanted to capture the spirit of being carefree and not belonging to anything, not needing to conform and not needing to belong to a specific lane. You can just do your own thing, find the things that are meaningful for you, but that's why I didn't want to include any symbols that might sort of introduce it, like, oh, this deck was inspired by some concepts from Tao and Zen and whimsical imagination, New Age concepts, etc. But it's none of those things. It's just a Panda deck, so it's up to you to decide what you want it to be. But yeah, you know, like I kind of like, you know, was sort of playing with like the idea of like carefree pandas or mellow pandas, but at the same time I knew it's just not there, and it's just not 100%, so I wasn't sure what to name it. But I'm gonna read a couple of like names from the ginormous list that I came up with to show you. So some of the ones that stood out, I'll just do those first. Number one is Panda Tarot. I thought it was gonna be cute. Panda Tarot. It's kind of catchy, but I don't know. I want like the title to pack a punch, right? It's kind of like naming a poem. You know, after you write a poem, you want to name the title so that the title ties everything together. It kind of gives another thematic level or another thematic layer. I wanted something that's sort of like a grand, like a core metaphor, that's something that could tie the deck together, something that, you know, ties in all the meanings. So I wanted it to have that poetic punch. I didn't want to just like have a catchy title or have a literal title. You know, I want something that's kind of literal, kind of metaphorical, kind of meaningful, and then kind of whimsical. So that's what I was looking for. So I have Panda Tarot. I thought it might be cute because there's already a Panda Tarot, so I couldn't just call it a Panda Tarot. I did a review on that Panda Tarot on this channel, so if you want to check it out, you could. Yeah, and then I have Panda Tarot, I have Chill Panda Tarot, which is like the same lane as like Mellow Panda, which is the next one that stood out. Mellow Panda Tarot, Carefree Pandas Tarot, Chill Pandas Tarot, Cool Pandas Tarot, Chill Out Pandas Tarot, and like here's a couple more. I also thought about the Panda Pace Tarot, which is kind of close to like what it is now, which is way out the Panda Tarot. And I also thought about Lightheart Tarot, and I actually liked that for a long time because it's very lighthearted, and it's also about the light within your heart. So I thought that was like a cute and whimsical and like meaningful title, but none of those are 100%. And here are some of the runner-ups or some of the other options that I was looking at. For example, Panda Power Tarot. I thought that was like a bit too comic booky, like it was like going too close to like the Kung Fu Panda lane, but that's also not what this deck is, even though there is a Kung Fu Panda in this deck, sort of. You know, I was also playing with alliterations like Power Up Panda, Peaceful Panda Tarot, Positive Panda. I don't know, Positive isn't really poetic, so I didn't really want that name. Good Vibes Panda Tarot, Panda Purpose Tarot, Calm Panda Tarot, Panda Harmony, Quiet Panda Tarot, Childless Panda Tarot, Free Panda Tarot, Mellow Tarot, Once Upon a Panda Tarot. Lol, that's what I put. And here's some other ones. Let's see. Warm Panda Tarot, Panda Mellow Tarot. Some of them are just rearrangements of the title and just kind of switching places of the words. Live Panda Tarot, Cozy Panda Tarot, Cheerful Panda Tarot, Cool Panda Tarot, Monochrome Tarot, Brilliant Pandas Tarot, Chill Panda. Already said that. Let's see. Precious Panda. Oh, here are some of the Facebook suggestions. Some of them were really good. And of course, someone had to suggest Pandemonium, which I thought was hilarious. But it's probably not going to be Pandemonium. Yeah, Precious Panda Tarot, Bamboo Dreams Tarot, Dreaming Panda Tarot, Calm Bamboo Tarot, Wishful Panda Tarot, Zen Panda Tarot. Not that one, sorry. Playful Panda Tarot, Blooming Panda Tarot, Peaceful Panda Tarot, Panda Power. Already said that. Panda Pace. Panda Party Tarot, Panda Pals, Panda Dreams Tarot, Gentle Panda Tarot, Harmonious Panda Tarot, Panda World Tarot, Panda Pace Tarot, Playful Cloud Tarot, Cloud Panda Tarot, Panda Bear Tarot, Gentle Panda Tarot. I think there are some repeats in there. Charming Panda Tarot, Spirit Panda Tarot, Lovely Panda Tarot, Lovable Pandas, Magic Panda Tarot, Magical Panda Tarot, Panda Presence Tarot, Panda Power, Panda Pace, Panda Truth Tarot, Curious Panda Tarot, Panda Present Tarot, Spirited Panda Tarot, Panda Spirit Tarot, Intuitive Panda Tarot, Panda Light Tarot, Panda Heart Tarot, Panda Practice Tarot, Panda Mind Tarot, Mindful Panda Tarot, True Panda Tarot, Panda Way Tarot, Panda Energy Tarot, Curious Panda Tarot, Panda Philosophy, Panda Thought. Okay, so that's like the big list that I went through, and after much deliberation, I kind of settled at the time. I kind of settled with Spirit Panda Tarot because spirituality and also just kind of going with the flow and lots of ideas that I want to express with this deck kind of has to do with your spirit, and so I thought Spirit Panda Tarot is kind of fitting. And the idea of a panda spirit is very important to me because how I created this deck, or how I wanted this deck to be, was to explore the archetypes and the energies and the symbolism of tarot through the lens of a panda, right? So if you take a look at all the major arcana concepts and how each card is defined, how is each card going to be expressed through the panda perspective? And if you look at the minor arcana, if you look at the 4 elements and the 4 suits, how is each elemental, like how is each element going to be expressed through the perspective of a panda? What does fire look like in a panda? What does water look like in a panda? What does earth look like in a panda? So it was very important for me to capture the spirit of the panda. So Spirit Panda kind of made sense for a while until it sort of started to sound like pandas as spirits or entities or apparitions. I know they sound really negative, but it kind of sounds like they're like spirit guardians of some sort, which is kind of straying away from what I wanted it to be, which was the spirit or the personality or the essence of what a panda represents and expressed through the context of tarot. And plus, I feel like a lot of tarot decks and oracle decks out there call like a spirit animal something, so it's like not catching enough. I wanted it to be really unique, but like not too out there, but at the same time it's still unique. So I kind of scratched it, but I ended up just changing up the word. I just, instead of like Spirit Panda, I just called it Panda Spirit, which is the spirit of the panda. And like when it comes to the wording, it made more sense because I wanted to capture the spirit of the pandas, or the philosophy of the panda, or what pandas mean in the context of tarot. So it sort of makes sense. And I remember talking to my artist, we were going back and forth on this, and we both really liked Spirit Panda and also Panda Spirit. So it was that for a long time. Like I thought this deck was going to be called Panda Spirit Tarot until it didn't want to be called that anymore. It was like,
hey Kim, this name sucks. Can you give me a new name?
And it just, all of a sudden, there was just a lot of like, it was like my heart was telling me like, this is not the ultimate. This is not, no. The pandas are like, we want something else. Can we have a new name, please? We don't like Panda Spirit anymore. We think it's kind of lame. So I ended up like brainstorming again. I'm just like going down this conundrum once more. It was actually like when I wanted to switch, it was actually like when the deck was almost done. So I was like, oh, okay, But I was pretty confident that I would find the right name for it. That's, I just had this belief in like in creative muses, and in when you create something, it's because you're meant to create it, etc. So I was confident that it's gonna come to me. So so I wanted, like I said before, right? I wanted something to pack a poetic punch. I wanted a title that connects everything together, that gives it this extra dimension of meaning, that gives it this extra character. It's that you read the title, you would know, sort of get a sense of what this deck essence and spirit is. So I really try to come up with something that will capture that. And I want to read you like the little blurb that I wrote for this deck. That's kind of like what I was working with to come up with the title. So it's a splash of zen, a brush of tao, a touch of whimsy, and tons of furry adorableness. A deck for serious chillers, carefree wanderers, and panda lovers in dreamy watercolor. So I was working with that and wanted to come up with a title, and I was having like a headache because I was just like, I just didn't know what it was going to be. And I was talking to Pamela, creator of the Crystal Unicorn Tarot. She's the one who got me into this, so thank you. And oh, if you're a deck creator, you should totally check out her course, deck creation course. Very to the point. She and Lisa Robertson are helping me with my Weight of the Tarot production and campaign and everything, just helping me bring this project together. So if you're a deck creator, I definitely recommend you to check out this course if you want to like a complete walkthrough from creation to production to like launching and getting picked up by a publisher, etc. So I recommend you to check out this course and just tell Pamela that I sent you over there, and I'm pretty sure you get some special perks. And full disclosure, I am one of her affiliates, so yeah, but it's honestly really great. Otherwise I wouldn't be saying it, because I don't believe in promoting stuff that I don't believe in. I don't believe that I don't like. Anyway, so yeah, I was like talking to her, and she was like, how about Way of the Panda Tarot? I think like Pamela has a way of like just picking up something that the people are gonna like. So at first I was like, Way of the Panda, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound strange, I don't know if it's like it fits my vision. So I just kind of left it there. I really need to, if I let an idea in, I need to really like fully explore it and consider it before it goes into my system and I agree to it. After a while, I kind of thought that, this name is kind of perfect. Like it has, after the initial resistance died down, it kind of had this ring to it. It has this like gentle rhythm. It has this poetic rhythm. Way of the Panda Tarot, like it sounds like Once Upon a Time. So it has that storytelling aspect. It has the word way in it, which is a connection to the way or Taoism. And Way of the Panda is also about sort of like having a practice of being a panda, not really caring about having doctrines or systems. It's like, I don't know how direct it is to like, being connected to Zen, but it just has that vibe, right? It has the vibe of being very carefree. It's like you're in the middle of a story, you're just going with the flow. Way of the Panda Tarot has this like mystical feelings, like folklore, fairy tale, all in one. And I really, really loved it because that really captured the spirit of this deck, which is to have connections with Eastern philosophy and also Western thinking and also whimsical imagination and also just cute pandas all in one. Like, can it get any better, really? So after the resistance subsided, I decided that it was an excellent name for this deck, and the pandas seemed to like it as well, because I think that was it. Like, that was it. I knew that was it. So thank you, Pamela, for the suggestion and helping me on my deck. So yeah, that's how my Panda Tarot went from Spirit Panda Tarot to Panda Spirit Tarot to Way of the Panda Tarot. So the whole process sounds like a big pain in the butt, but it actually wasn't. It was just like, it happened, things happened and changes happened when they needed to happen. So everything was sort of like, it just got to fall into place. And that's one of the things that are truly magical about this process. I knew that when I started creating this deck, the whole process is gonna be very panda-esque. It's gonna like it's just gonna roll, like it rolled into my life. I wasn't like consciously planning it, but it just sort of started, and everything just went from there. Everything fell into place. Everything was very at ease, and everything, like I overcame all the challenges very fairly easily, and everything just made sense, and everything just had like a great flow to it. So I'm really grateful for that. Really grateful the Panda spirits chose me to channel this deck and make it into to really create it, and I am proud to be its mother, to give birth to this project, and I'm just so excited for the Kickstarter. I'm getting teary-eyed. It's finally gonna happen. Woo! So yeah, I think that name is perfect, you know. Here's your Panda glass slipper, okay? And just be happy, and yeah, so I'm sure the pandas are happy about that. So, and I'm also happy about that. Yeah, that's how the deck name came to be, and it was really cool. I think things like this, they usually just fall into place if you allow it to anyway. So that was really awesome. And yeah, that is how Way of the Panda Tarot is thus named. And if you have any questions, or if you're curious about anything else about Panda deck, leave it down in the comments below and I will get to them and I'll answer your questions. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for my Panda deck. I'm so excited. Like every time I'm thinking about the launch, I'm just like, you know, your heart gets that flutter. It's like, I'm just like, oh, I don't know if this is fear or adrenaline or joy or excitement or all of them at the same time. It's just like, oh, I know it's gonna be great. So until next time, see you later, and be the hero of your own story. Keep calm and carry on, go with the flow. I still haven't decided what my end line is, but until next time, see you later.